With the release of the Nurburgring 2025 and Endurance Pack 3 DLC, Automobilista 2 now has probably, if not, the best looking version of the Nordschleife in all of sim racing. But has Automobilista 2 improved since we last played it? Was the last update game changing? Are people right to complain about having to pay for a new version of the Nordschleife in Automobilista 2? And why is Automobilista 2 still a bit pants to drive compared to other racing simulators, despite it being rather cracking in VR? That's what we're going to discuss in this video, but before we do, subscribe so that you have the power to unsubscribe when I say something that upsets you. Clicking the like button
will open a parallel dimension to the dark realm and you'll never escape.
And of course, a huge thank you to all our channel members, Patreon members, followers, subscribers and supporters that allow us to keep producing this terrible content. Without you, we wouldn't be here, which is probably what a lot of people would rather be the case. So first things first, you have to play AMS2 in VR if you haven't. It's easily one of the best sims to drive in VR. Pop your VR headset on. I used virtual desktop with the Quest 3, or you can use the Quest Link or whatever. But you pop your VR headset on, you load into the game. It's all in the game. You don't have to fiddle around with mods. The game runs great. It looks bloody fantastic. The car details are fantastic. The track details are fantastic. And crucially, it has pretty good AI for you to race against with a good broad selection of content. So if you don't want to mess around so much, you just want to jump in a car, have a good time in VR, immersively driving stuff, AMS2's probably going to tickle most people's pickle. So that is a public service announcement. If you've got a VR headset, get Automobilista 2, jump in and try it out. You'll have a really good time. Now, on the topic of the new DLC, as I say, this version of the Nordschleife looks bloody good. Like, it looks really, really good. Specifically, what stands out, and probably the most important part of any racing simulator, is the quality of the trees. But the trees are something you notice going around Nordschleife, and you also notice how much they block the sunlight. If you've ever been around the track in real life, the way the light plays on the track and blocks your view and stuff is actually quite a significant aspect of the Nordschleife, given its crazy corners and journey through the hillside. But also the road texture, curbing details, fencing, all the accoutrements around the track look absolutely superb with this updated version of the Green Hell. So to answer one of the questions we said at the start of the video, is it worth getting the Nordschleife update? I would say yes, but if you don't think so, Riesa have a free access period right now, so you can jump in the game and try the DLC out to make your mind up if it's worth getting or not. So I really don't understand why people are complaining about paying for an updated track. Also, the older version of the track has the mesh updated anyway for free. So you kind of, everyone's kind of getting something. And yeah, if you really want an updated, cracking, super mega HD version, one of the best looking versions of the Nordschleife, £8, you can't really complain. I mean, bloody look at it. Look at it. You can't. Why? Sometimes I just wonder what's going on in sim racers' heads. I mean, I could get the argument that it might fragment multiplayer, but I think most people playing AMS2 are doing what I do, where they play the single player or create a server with their friends that they're joining, you know, or they're playing in VR and just messing around and just enjoying the content in a sort of casual way. It's not like an online racing sim like iRacing or LMU or something where the DLC can really fragment it and mean that you can't actually get a race with people. So yeah, I actually think it's perfectly reasonable, and the quality of the tracks is just absolutely superb in Automobilista 2. Nordschleife is such a huge track as well. It's like the equivalent of 3 or 4 tracks. £8 or £5, whatever it costs, is really not the end of the world. It's a track you could spend many, many hours driving on. Now, with the Endurance Pack Part 3 DLC, all we've managed to try was the Aston Martin Valkyrie. On the positive side, I'd say in VR, really interesting, exciting experience, and sitting in the cockpit with all the details and graphics, absolutely superb. However, and get ready for a unsubscribe moment. It is really apparent that the handling of this car is absolutely mental. And just continues along with the typical mental handling that Automobilista 2 has. We went back and we also drove some GT3 cars. You saw the F3 car earlier on. I mean, honestly, guys, I've been playing a lot of Race Room the last few days. We've been playing a lot of LMU, and we've been playing a lot of iRacing. I average about 50, 60 hours a week of sim racing. And we hadn't played Automobilista 2 that much recently, and then we got back in it, and yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Look, you can have a lot of fun playing it. I can see why people like it. I can especially appreciate if you're really not trying to absolutely hold the car at the limits. It can be exciting to slide them around, and there are moments actually where the physics are really quite compelling and interesting, little moments, but then there's a lot of moments where just completely insane things happen. Obviously on the Nordschleife, you know, cars bottom out, you hit curbing. The Nordschleife is totally mental. It's not really the type of track to be driving Formula cars or hybrid cars like this. But the GT3 car, I say hybrid cars, it's not a hybrid car. This is just a hypercar, but this one's actually not hybrid. This is pure petrol, because the Aston Martin Valkyrie is actually a really good car. But yeah, the GT3 cars is still exactly the same. Every car in Automobilista 2, exactly the same. They just have this super mega unhinged handling characteristic where they effectively drive like they're always over the limit, and in many ways mega catchable, mega throttle sensitive, but then spontaneously the tyres turn off at times with no warning whatsoever. So, you know, it's weird. Playing this, I was like, there's moments in this where it's like, this is actually more unforgiving than iRacing, and more unpredictable and ridiculous than iRacing, which is a crazy thing to be saying, because iRacing's tyres, you know, if you push them slightly over the limit, they just get stuck over the limit. So for Automobilista 2 to be competing with iRacing for bizarro, silly physics is actually quite impressive. Again, I think if you're someone that's not really trying to hold a car at the limit, really push the braking, you probably might not notice this, and you can have a great time. I do actually think the setups are quite good setups out of the box. I think they've done a really good job with making the setups as neutral as possible, as balanced as possible. I think Automobilista 2 have done a really good job with the general car polish. They all drive fairly consistently within this sort of Automobilista 2 way of driving, unlike the previous Madness engine game, Project Cars 2, or even earlier versions of Automobilista 2, where content was all over the place. Everything's fairly consistent in this, but it's consistently quite mental in handling when you're actually trying to really push and balance things. Again, another positive though, the force feedback is quite detailed. There's always a good range of force feedback signal, apart from when you accidentally light the rears up in scenarios where you would have thought the rears would be reluctant to light up. But, you know, the force feedback generally is way more detailed than LMU, for example, and I think in many ways got more detail than Race Room and some other simulators out there. But yeah, the problem is you just have these spontaneous insanity time moments. Even once you've learnt and you understand the kind of hovercrafty, floaty way that's fast to drive in Automobilista 2, even once you've learnt that and got used to that, you then have these basically binary fail conditions that you will only discover when they happen, which then when they do happen you have to memorise exactly what it was that caused them, with you having no real ability to catch them or avoid them or deal with them in real time. And in contrast to Assetto Corsa 1, Le Mans Ultimate, Race Room, like, there's no real moments in that unless I'm really pushing and really taking the piss, or like, you know, I'm racing someone and doing something crazy. There's no moments in that I can't kind of naturally just counter steer. Like, when I crash in those sims, it's so obviously my fault. Whereas the spins and stuff we're doing in AMS2, it's like, what? It's just like, what? And very much like the stuff in iRacing. But the difference is, in iRacing, you're doing sort of online competitive races and memorising it, 'cause it's over and over again the same thing. And also in iRacing, you have to drive so passively and always under the limit. It kind of it doesn't lure you in. And yeah, you condition and brainwash yourself to underdrive. So in iRacing, you know it's terrible at all times. Whereas AMS2, it lures you in with like some of the most ridiculously controllable oversteer known to man, as if every car, even this Aston Martin, has some like ludicrous drift setup on it. It lures you in, and you're like, oh, great, and oh wow, look at me, I'm sliding everything around, and then. Oh, boop, you push the brake half a Newton meter too hard in this one condition. Boop, that's it, off. Oh, the throttle, you lit it up. Boop, you're off. Oh, and then apparently, I think there's just weird stuff with downforce in this game as well. You go over some dips or some conditions over a crest, and it's as if the downforce doesn't exist at all. And like, obviously, crests and all these track cambers and everything, especially on the Nordschleife. Obviously, Nordschleife is mental. But even on more modest ones and other tracks, obviously, they do affect downforce. They do affect a car's handling. But once you're going at like 150, or, you know, you're really poning it with a car with high downforce setup on it, the car should not just boop. That's it. You're gone. Boop. that's the experience for me. It's like boop, and it's crazy. It's not what cars drive like in many other simulators. And I think if cars did that in real life, well, the car companies would be getting sued, because you'd have all these drivers dying from having a car that's seemingly perfectly easy to drive in every situation and then suddenly turns off. But what do I know? I'm not a real race driver. So you just have to keep all those things in mind. I think, as I say, with this update, as always, Automobilista 2 does hit a sweet spot for people that want to jump in, awesome tracks, awesome car content, awesome graphics, amazing VR. You want to jump in and do AI racing, jump in with a few mates, have a blast, not take it too seriously. Sure, you could take it seriously. Maybe you do LFM on it or something, I don't know, or you do league racing. Do what you want if you enjoy it. I don't care. But from my perspective, it's a game that's better if you're sort of approaching it as a jump in, kind of casually having fun. I know that will upset Automobilista 2 fans that are like, oh, it's the best sim ever and it needs to be respected. You don't know what you're talking about, Game of Muscle. But let's be honest. From the perspective of most people that are going to play Automobilista 2, I think if they're treating it as a really fun to play offline AI racing game, or game they can play with their mates, they will have a really good time. I mean, in fairness, actually playing all the simulators like that is generally just more fun. That's how I play iRacing. just jump in and have a mess around. It's actually more fun. But you know what I'm getting at? Like, if I was like really looking for like focusing on being precise and delicate with the driving and really emphasizing driver's skills and my throttle input and my steering input and balancing a car and doing hot lapping and all that kind of stuff, really focusing on the raw driving, you're so much better off using the hot lap mode in Race Room or playing the original Assetto Corsa. You know, and they're basically free to play. I mean, AC is basically free and has every car and track and every mod. So you're probably better off for that kind of stuff. But then AC's got crap AI and it's not as plug and play for VR and it doesn't look as nice. So, you know, swings and roundabouts with all these things. Get all the sims, play all the sims. But, you know, I'm just trying to give those of you a view of Automobilista 2 that maybe don't have it yet, and a kind of like trying to frame how to think about it. Still going to get absolutely slaughtered by the fans of this title, but, you know, I'm hated by the fans of every title, so that's probably an indication that I'm doing absolutely the right thing by critically pointing out what's good and bad with the driving simulators. So, all said and done, before we round things off here, bloody good graphics and track model by Reza. Love that they keep pumping stuff out. I would like them to do more underlying core engine stuff, but I don't think that's really their expertise. I would have really loved them to do more to the tyre model rather than what seemed like sort of band-aid tweaks to it. And also, I would really like them to actually sort the lock to horizon so it doesn't get stuck, and also so it returns quicker, because unless I'm playing in VR, ironically in 2D, this game makes me chronically motion sick. It doesn't in VR because VR is actually more literal, so you don't end up with things that trigger motion sickness. But in 2D, this game absolutely kills me. I would like them to address those kind of things. And also, I think most people would agree with me on this. Rather than all this DLC, it's good DLC. I don't think it's bad for them to do it, but I think people would really just like an actual single player or structured hot lap stuff to do. You know, a really structured thing to do in single player. That is what I think people want, and that is what I think Automobilista 2 really, really, really needs and really needed before all these DLCs. But, you know, Reza have to make money. They've got to pay the bills, and DLCs is a way to do that. And they will have people that are capable of producing fantastic 3D models, great car models, and so, well, they will do that, and they'll be able to make DLCs whilst other stuff maybe takes a longer time. So there's me forgetting that the finish line in this game is further ahead. And that's the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you did. Give me a fish and a teapot if you got to the end. Thank you very much for watching. Till the next one, happy tea drinking, take care, and goodbye.